Hey, what's up, everybody? I am the Wrestling Rundown Champion. Make sure you tune into that on Thursday at 8 o'clock a.m. We're going early on Thursday. And I'm here to give you guys my G.F.W. Impact Wrestling review for September 7th, 2017. And I'm just going to jump right into it. We had Jeremy Borash and Josh Matthews on commentary for this show. And earlier on, it shows Eli Drake and Chris Adonis arriving into the building, and then Matt Sydal arriving into the building since they were both wrestling in the main event for the GFW Global World Heavyweight Championship. And then we had the first match on the show. It was Caleb Conley and Trevor Lee versus Petey Williams and Sanjay Dutt. I thought this was a pretty decent tag team match. Um, yeah, I thought it was decent. The heels get the heat on Petey Williams for a while, and then Sanjay Dutt gets the hot tag. He hits a tornado DDT on Caleb Conley, and eventually Petey Williams hits the Canadian Destroyer, and Sanjay Dutt hits a splash off the top turnbuckle onto Caleb Conley for the win. And I thought that made sense for them to win because you're trying to reestablish Petey Williams back into Impact Wrestling. So I like this. This will get an up. And also the segment with Eli Drake and Matt Sydal and stuff will also get an up. Then we had Santana and Ortiz with Conan and Diamante versus John Bolin and Zachary Wentz. This was pretty much an enhancement match here. Um, Pretty much Santana and Ortiz dominate this match. Conan and Diamante throw one of the enhancement talents into the steps, and eventually Santana and Ortiz win with the powerbomb blockbuster combo, and then afterwards OBE comes out, and they were watching the matchup from backstage, and they say that LAX claims that they're the best tag team in this company, and that was true up until we came into the company, and they won a shot at their GFW Unified World Tag Team Championships, and Conan gets on the mic and accepts, but they're not going to have the match just anywhere. They're going to have the match in Tijuana, Mexico, um, at the Crash promotion. And that match is going to take place on the next episode of GFW Impact Wrestling. So I like this segment here. You know, I like the squash match, made the champions look strong, and I like the setup to the GFW Unified World Tag Team Championship match on the next episode. So this will get an up. And then the next match we had Taryn Terrell and Sienna with KM versus Allie and Gail Kim with Braxton Sutter. And this match really wasn't very good. Taryn Terrell and Sienna get the heat on Gail Kim for a while. Then eventually Allie gets the hot tag. And right when she's about to win, KM tries to interfere and Braxton Sutter attacks him. KM and Braxton Sutter brawl to the back. And then Allie hits a crossbody on Sienna, but she ends up rolling through and he hits a roll up on her. And Sienna and Taryn Terrell win the match. And Allie was all surprised that they didn't win. And afterwards, they beat the crap out of Taryn Terrell, and then eventually Rosemary runs out, and her arm was all taped up. We're gonna get into that. We're gonna get into the reason why later on in the show, but yeah, Taryn Terrell and Sienna beat up Rosemary because the numbers games are just too much. And then we had the debut of Tiana. I want to make sure I have it right. I think it's Tiana McHale. I don't know if that's how you say that or not. Hold on, I'm looking it up. Tanya Valkyrie. Sorry, I messed up the name. And she finally debuted. It had already been announced that she was gonna debut, and I like her gimmick. I actually like that she has the Queen gimmick. And she comes out and she teases like she's gonna attack Sienna and Taylor Terrell, but instead she ends up attacking Rosemary. She hits a straight jacket facebuster on her, and then that was pretty much it. I thought it made sense for her to debut as a heel because this gimmick that she has seems like more of a heel gimmick anyway. So I thought it made sense for her to debut as a heel. So overall, I didn't really like this woman segment very much. I thought there was just too much going on, so I'm going to give this a down. And then we had a video package for Eli Drake, and he talks about how Matt Sydal is just living a fairy tale storyline, and he's riding on cruise control, and he's going to defeat him tonight and ruin the dreams of Matt Sydal. Overall, I thought this was a good promo by Eli Drake. Gets an up. Then Jim Cornette comes out to cut a promo, and he talks about how G.F.W. How it's really growing in as a promotion. And then Johnny Impact comes out, and he comes out and says that he wants the winner of the Matt Sydal Eli Drake match for the Global World Heavyweight Championship. And then LAX comes out, and Conan talks about how LAX is being discriminated against because Low Key is the one that deserves the title shot, while Johnny Impact hasn't been here very long. So then eventually they get into a brawl, and Jim Cornette sends security out there to break it up. What I didn't like about this brawl was LAX had like a 5-on-1 advantage, but yet Johnny Impact was still able to fight him off. That didn't really make any sense to me, but whatever. I did like this promo segment, though. It will get it up. And then Jim Cornette's backstage, and he says that, and then he says this in his interview, too. He pretty much announces that on the next episode of GFW Impact Wrestling, we're going to have a global GFW Global World Heavyweight Championship #1 contenders match between Low Key and Johnny Impact. So I'm looking forward to that match. I'm going to do a live reactions to that match, so I'm going to make sure to do that. And then Grado and Joseph Park were backstage, and Joseph Park tells Grado that he has to break up with Laurel Van Ness since she's Canadian, they're going to be in worse shape than they already are. And so then Laurel Van Ness comes out all happy, and Grado just tells her the Reddit's off, and Laurel Van Ness acts like she's okay with it, but then we see that she's starting to get crazy again. So obviously this is leading to something. I didn't like this segment very much. Getting it down. And then it showed a video package for that Triple Mania 25 show, because they had a lot of their GFW stars there. And, some GFW stars broke it down talking about how this show was a big deal. Superstars like, obviously the Jarretts, Mike Tenay, Lashley, Moose, Johnny Impact, DJZ, and Andrew Leverett. I thought DJZ had a pretty interesting story. How he almost had a career, and not a career, and a life-threatening injury, and was back 4 months later wrestling on the show. I thought that was pretty interesting. And he said he never wanted to come back to Mexico, and then eventually he did. He even talked about how Johnny Impact was defending all 3 of the main titles there, and he defended it against El Hijo del Fantasma, and I think it was Graza Jr., but I don't remember what his name is in AAA. They talked about how Lashley and Moose were both in another gauntlet match to fight for a title, and how Moose eliminated him, so Lashley wasn't happy about it, so he's unhappy that one of his teammates stabbed him in the back, and he says that this is why he doesn't have any friends and why he may leave wrestling for MMA. So I'm assuming they're going to do something with Lashley and Moose, because they ended up brawling in the crowd. And then we saw this. The biggest thing that probably came out of the show was when Sexy Star ended up injuring Rosemary. Now, obviously, this was some pretty big talk in the wrestling community. Sexy Star ended up injuring her, and we know that Sexy Star really didn't care. So Sexy Star is pretty hated in the wrestling business. I don't know if she's still hated in the wrestling business, but it's kind of interesting. And it kind of makes you question whether or not anyone's ever going to wrestle her again after she just injured Rosemary like that. And we saw that Rosemary, then that's why Rosemary's arm was all taped up. So you saw like Jeff Jarrett and members of the AAA locker room get into an altercation. Even and La Polka, who's like kind of like the backstage locker in AAA, was trying to calm him down. But they talked about how overall they thought it was a successful event, and how AAA and GFW are going to continue to maintain a relationship. But while I didn't hate the video package, it pretty much took up half of the show. And I get you wanted to advertise this show, but this was a show that had happened weeks before this episode anyway, so I thought this was just kind of stupid. So I'm going to give this a down. This was dumb. To take up half your show advertising advertising a wrestling company that isn't even yours. I get some of your roster was there, but it was just stupid. And then we had a video package for Desmond Xavier, kind of introducing who he is, and he talked about how he comes from a military family, and that kind of helped him get into wrestling, but he really wasn't lighting the world on fire in the Indies. So then eventually OVE kind of took him under his wing and helped him out, and now they're all signed to the the G.F.W roster, and he wants to, now that he's won the Super X Cup, he wants to win the X Division Championship. So overall, I thought this was a good video package getting it up. Then we had another vignette for the Clown. I guess we'll give that an up. And then Graza Jr. had a video package, and he talked about how he's wrestled all over the world, and how his uncle used to wrestle in TNA and was once a Super X Cup winner, and he wants to follow in his footsteps. This was a decent video package getting it up. And then Richard Justice is backstage, and somebody comes up to him and asks him why he's still training. And he said that after you were injured by Congo Khan last week, and he says that he wants to prove he may be needed to go out there and wrestle, so he wants to make sure he's always prepared. I don't like the storyline they have going on with Richard Justice, how he's the standby wrestler. It's just stupid, getting it down. And then we had a video package for Matt Sydal, and he talked about how he's undefeated in Impact Wrestling, and how when he beat Lashley, it was the biggest victory of his career, and he said that he's going to use that momentum to defeat Eli Drake for the GFW Global World Heavyweight Championship. Then we had the main, so I like that video package, getting it up. Then we had the main event. It was a GFW Global World Heavyweight Championship match. GFW Global World Heavyweight Champion Eli Drake with Chris Adonis ringside versus Matt Sydal. Overall, I thought this was a good main event. If I had to rate it, I'll probably give it 3.25 stars. Matt Sydal dominated the beginning parts of this matchup. He hit a dive on the outside, and then eventually Eli Drake gets the upper hand, and he ends up dominating Matt Sydal. He teases like he's going to use a steel chair, but the referee takes it away from him, and Matt Sydal ended up hitting a headlock driver, which looked pretty cool. And then eventually Eli Drake just dominates the rest of the matchup. He ends up hitting a blatant chokehold on Matt Sydal, slingshots him both first into the ropes, goes to throw him into the post. Matt Sydal ends up throwing Eli Drake into the post, but then Eli Drake immediately hits a clothesline, cutting off Matt Sydal's momentum. And then eventually Matt Sydal starts to make his comeback. He hits a double knees from the top turnbuckle. He hits a wicked Hurricanrana from the top turnbuckle. And then eventually the referee, Chris Adonis, throws the championship belt into the ring. He throws in a steel chair and uses it to distract the referee. And Eli Drake goes to hit him with the title. Sydal counters with a leg lariat, and then he doesn't get the pinfall. Then he goes for the shoot and stop press, but Chris Adonis gets up on the apron, and Matt Sydal ends up kicking him. And Adonis distracts the referee long enough for Eli Drake to hit him off the skull with the Global World Heavyweight Championship, and then hits the gravy train, or whatever he calls it, for the win. And Eli Drake retains the Global World Heavyweight Championship. So I like the main event here. It was a decent match, getting it up. And overall, as for Impact Wrestling, this was a pretty weak average show. The reason why I say that is half of this show was pretty much taken up by video package. This was pretty much video package city. And we didn't really get a lot of storylines or anything like that on the show, because all they did was video package for that AAA Mania show that happened. And while I still liked some of the stuff that happened, and I did give a decent amount of thumbs up, but literally there was so many video packages and not enough matches. And I like to kind of have a mixture of both. We only had 4 matches on this show. I think that's kind of ridiculous. And we had and we didn't really have many segments that actually took place on this show. It was all video packages, so I thought that was kind of weak. But that's pretty much it, guys. So if I had to rate this show, I would say it was an average show, 5 out of 10, which is an F. But that's pretty much it, guys. Thank you guys for watching this video. Please make sure you guys like, comment, and share this video so people will watch it. Make sure you guys subscribe to this channel for more content and click on the bell so that way every time I upload a video, you guys will get the notifications for it. Make sure you guys do the same thing for my CM Brothers and Owen the Talkinator YouTube channels. And that's pretty much it, guys. Talk to you later.